Am I the asshole for not changing my baby's name? My husband and I are expecting our first baby, and we're due in just a few weeks. When we first announced our pregnancy to our family after the first trimester, 20+ weeks ago, we also announced our baby's gender and his name. My sister and her husband have been trying to conceive their third kid for the last 5-ish years, however, due to some complications in her previous pregnancy, they have had to do several rounds of IVF. Turns out she found out she was pregnant 5 weeks after me and announced her pregnancy a little over a month after us. She found out she is also expecting a baby boy, and we were both excited about the idea of our kids growing up to be best friends. Everything was going pretty great until a few weeks ago. My mom decided to come to visit me to help me get the nursery ready, and mentioned that my sister had really liked the name my husband and I picked for our baby and that she had decided to take it. My mom then asked me what my husband and I would change our baby's name to, since it would be too confusing to have 2 grandkids with the same name. I told my mom that we were not changing the name of our baby since our hearts were set on it, and we wouldn't have announced it if we weren't sure. I then get a call from my sister, claiming that since this was their miracle baby, she would get first dibs on whatever name they wanted. I told her that she can name her baby whatever she wants, but that we're not changing our minds about our baby's name. Am I the asshole for not being willing to change my baby's name? NTA. Your sister is acting like the world revolves around her. I bet she's going to throw a meltdown if your kid is cuter. If you have a baby shower, she will be mad because how dare you have a baby shower and take all the attention off her and her miracle baby. Or you'll be gifted some item she really wanted at your own baby shower and she will take it from you as she has dibs, best to go LC if talking to her doesn't work. Not the asshole you announced the pregnancy and the baby name. 5 weeks later, your sister got pregnant through IVF and decided to try and name her baby the same thing. That's not only creepy, but envious. You can't just take someone else's baby name like that. She's free to name her child the same thing, but there will be consequences to that, I'm sure. In the form of, isn't your sister's kid named the same, and didn't that kid come out first? People can do the math here. They're not stupid. Just stand your ground on the name. Tell her she's free to name her child whatever she wishes. The situation will resolve itself. Not the asshole. There are millions of names out there. You announced yours first, it's yours. Worst case, your family will survive with 2 cousins with the same name. Not the asshole. Stick to it. You announced it first. Sister is an asshole for stealing it without even talking to you. But I do hope it's a name that can have a nickname for the kid. Sake. It'd be too much confusion otherwise. Wow. What? You told her the name you picked for your baby before you even knew she was pregnant. She then decided she liked the name you had picked and stole it, and everyone expects you to give up the name to her? Because she had a hard time conceiving her third kid? What? There is no rational reason why you should be expected to give up the name you had already selected because she had a hard time conceiving. She only thought of it because you had picked it. If it was a name she always planned to name her kid and had deep sentimental meaning for her and her husband, like his dead father's name, or something like that, maybe that would justify her behavior. As is, there is no reason at all you should change your kid's name. Not the asshole, but your sister certainly is. Not the asshole. People get insane over baby names. When a friend's cousin was pregnant, she picked a name for her son, naming him after his grandfather. My friend, who was not pregnant or married, immediately stopped speaking to this cousin because that was her name. I said, who cares? Just name your kid that later on. You don't live in the same town and you never see your cousin anyways. But she refused. And legit 10 years later, is still not speaking to the cousin. She also has 3 daughters. Not the asshole. Both your mother and sister are gigantic assholes. Stay strong. Edit. Also insane to me that your sister went through multiple rounds of IVF for a third child. The fact that she spent a whole bunch of money on that baby does not make it more special than any other baby. I feel for their siblings. Miracle baby. No, this is their third child. If it was a miracle baby, then they would have gotten pregnant through immaculate conception. AITA. Bought my ex-wife a new car, and helped her with some bills. Now my wife is mad. My ex-wife was a SOM during our 16-year marriage. And since we got married very young. She has very little job experience. And is in her 40s. She works at a diner as a waitress currently. She no longer receives alimony from me since she remarried, automatically stopping the payments which were originally lifetime. Due to the fact that she was in her mid-30s with no education or job experience. Well, now that they divorced, she's had to get a job. Since unlike with me, she didn't get hardly any spousal support from her last husband. The thing is, she doesn't make enough to really do much of anything. I have a lot of disposable income, likely more than people reading this would be willing to believe. And she has no disposable income. She fell way behind on bills and reached out to me as a last resort. So I asked my wife, thinking she'd say okay. She did not. And almost immediately after my ex and her car were involved in an accident. She had a hospital bill which totaled $77,000. And I paid that expense, along with buying her a new car. And gave her e-money to catch up on bills. With extra to pay her monthly expenses till she gets back on her feet. My wife was pissed when she found out. She claims my ex needs to fend for herself. But my ex is only in this position because she had to drop out to take care of our baby. And ended up just staying home. When we split, she didn't have the credentials to make a living wage. I had quite literally no choice. I told her it would be cruel to watch the woman who enabled me to get to where I am suffer. She lost it, and now won't talk to me. Not the asshole. I can see how your current wife might be bothered by this, but at the same time she's the mother of your child and you had the ability to help. Personally, I'd prefer my husband not to be selfish if this were a situation we were in. Difficult. I would say not the asshole though. You acknowledged your ex made sacrifices and you want to show gratitude. I would say that makes you a caring person who wants to right by the mother of his kid. No assholes here. Your current wife has a right to be mad. But your ex-wife is the mother of your child and like you said is the reason you were able to make something of yourself. You're being a decent human being by not letting her fall flat on her face. You said you had money to blow, so at least you're spending it on a person who is down on their luck rather than a new sports car. Not the asshole. He is helping the mother of his child. It can't be easy for the child to see their mother struggling financially while the dad lives well. The a-hole is the new non-working wife. Not the asshole. Your ex-wife was a victim of divorce rules that don't make a lot of sense in this situation. Her new marriage didn't magically obviate the fact that in your partnership together, she took the stay-at-home duties at the expense of her future earning potential. Regardless of the law, you have a moral obligation here, or at the very least you are not being an asshole to feel that you have a moral obligation. It's complicated because you also have an obligation to your current wife to work in partnership. Ideally that should not just be about shared decision-making, but also shared values. She is being a lot more selfish with your money than you are, which is possibly justified, but still mildly assholish given the obligation that you feel. Info: will you be supporting your next ex-wife financially in the same manner? Info: what does your wife say when you tell her that basically you are the cause, and feel responsible? Assuming you explained that to her. Info: are you the sole breadwinner in your household? In other words, was the money you gave away earned exclusively by you? Am I the asshole for moving out, taking all my stuff, and not telling my roommates? I, 19 female, live with 3 other girls, 19-20, in an apartment on campus. Since it's an apartment on campus, it's a 2-bedroom with 4 people, so everyone shares a room. I share a room with B, C and D share a room. Between me and D we furnished the whole apartment. I want to acknowledge that I am the bitchy roommate. I call everyone out on money, food, and cleaning. I'm a full-time college student and I work 40 hours a week on top of that, but I'm also the one that does the most chores. Since I am the only one with a job, my roommates expect me to buy everything for the place: toilet paper, garbage bags, etc. And they get mad that I ask them to pay me their share of. I really enjoy cooking and it's a huge stress relief for me. For the first month of the semester we did group groceries and group meals. It was cheaper and we would be getting better meals. I figured out we could get 2 weeks worth of meals for around $30–40 each every 2 weeks. I make the grocery list and cook the meals. After about a month B and C said they don't want to do group groceries anymore because it's too expensive. I now cook meals for me and D. We shop together and split the cost 50-50. I'm cooking food for me and D still. B and C expect me to make them food. I told them they didn't pay for food, so I am not making them any. So now they go out to eat and get takeout every night, then complain that they don't have any money. B has a boyfriend, he comes over and spends the night too. I share a room with B. I've asked to let me know before he comes over. She did for a month, now she tells no one. He comes over and takes naps in her bed when she's not in the room and I'm trying to do homework. I've asked not have him spend the night if I am intoxicated due to trauma. I woke up after drinking and he was in the room asleep without her. So I did not fall back asleep and was not happy. He comes over all the time now and she doesn't let us know. I'll jump in the shower in the morning. When I walk back to my room in just a towel, he'll be sitting on her bed while I try to get dressed. I am in therapy, and because of the pandemic it's virtual. So I do it from my own room. I can't help it if there's people home, but I've recently figured out that they've been listening to my therapy sessions. I'll talk about things in that session that I don't talk about with anyone else. Somehow C and B will bring it up later that night if it's something about the apartment and them. When I move out, they will have absolutely nothing in the apartment. No pots or pans, couch, a coffee table, a TV stand, all decorations, etc. I already cancelled my housing contract for next semester. It isn't going to be worth $2,000 for me. So I left for 2 weeks, packed up most of my stuff and left with it. I only told D that I was leaving for 2 weeks. So B and C have no idea where I am or most of my stuff, and honestly I'm fine with it. Am I the asshole? Edit. I have told D that I am not coming back for the second semester. Everything that she paid for, brought is hers. I'm leaving her stuff alone, and that includes some of the stuff that we split the cost on. B and C have since decided to give me the silent treatment and have not talked to me for a week. I have my big furniture pieces and everything in the kitchen left there for me to grab over Thanksgiving break when no one is there. Otherwise, I have nothing else still there. I have talked to D about moving out and getting a place with me, and she isn't interested with moving into a house this year since she is from out of state. The apartment is through college housing. There is no rent to worry about for them to pay. A new random person will be placed into the apartment. The cost of living for them will not change. NTA, you don't owe them an explanation. They continuously crossed boundaries and didn't respect you enough. Your roomie's boyfriend is nasty too. He's sitting there knowing you need to get dressed. That's gross. If you share a room, he shouldn't be staying over like that. Also, you own that stuff. They're adults and can figure they're shut out. You should try and get a place with D. Edit. You do not owe people who treat you badly an explanation or another chance to talk you out of it. The only person who truly matters in your life is you op. You told roommate D what was up because she respected you. You don't owe the other two anything. They were abusive and horrible to you. Worry about yourself, not if you hurt their feelings. They should have considered yours if they wanted you to consider theirs. Your roommates sound awful. Moving out and taking your stuff is clearly not a problem. You are free to do so. The only real question is whether doing it with no notice is an asshole move. I am leaning not the asshole. It would be nice to give them a heads up you are leaving, but you aren't obligated to do so. Not the asshole. When things become intolerable in an apartment living situation with the roommates, about the only thing to do is to move out. Sometimes you have to do things first and then let them know later to avoid unpleasant confrontation. They have shown that they will change their behavior for a short time, but end up going back to their old patterns. De facto moving in a boyfriend into a shared bedroom is an absolute asshole move. Your bedroom is an environment that you are supposed to be safe in. Instead, you need to figure out how to change while the boyfriend sleeps in the room. Totally unacceptable. I did exactly what you're doing to my final roommate. She tried taking advantage of my kindness in furnishing the place and buying food, and when I left I took every single last thing I bought. She had no shower curtains or hygiene products, no food, no furniture, no decorations, no towels or cleaning supplies. Nothing but a mattress on the floor and the 2 litter boxes for her baker's dozen of cats. Sometimes you just have to be the mean person. You don't deserve to have to replace all your stuff just because of other people's failure to act like fucking adults. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Tell D you're moving at least, so she can make preparations for herself as well. She's done nothing wrong and doesn't deserve to be stuck with the other two, but you owe B and C absolutely nothing. You don't have to tell them shit. They can fend for themselves. Not the asshole. Do what you gotta do, you paid for all that stuff so it's yours to take. Not the asshole. Your property. Your money. Your roommates don't carry their weight or respect reasonable boundaries. Good choice. I would let them know after you had packed up everything that really mattered in case there was trouble. Not the asshole, and all the best. Am I the asshole for asking my boyfriend to check on my bedridden mother? I recently came into a situation where my bedridden mother had to move in with me, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 22 male. From the beginning he did tell me that he wasn't going to help with her in any way, shape or form, and I respected that. I've never asked him to do anything for her. My mother is a lot. She needs help with everything, going to the bathroom, showering, eating, etc. For some backstory, I work full-time while my boyfriend is a stay-at-home dad to our 8-month-old. Anyways, today, after I had already left to work, my mom ended up leaning too far down on her bed and could not breathe. She does not have the strength to sit herself back up, so she started calling out for my boyfriend so he could give her a hand to sit up. He heard her and chose to ignore her. This led to her having to throw herself off the bed to be able to breathe again. I got home to get 8 hours later and she was crying on the floor. She told me what happened and I immediately went off on my boyfriend, and he defended himself saying that he told me he wasn't going to help her at all, but I was asking him if it was really too much to ask for him to check on her to make sure she's not dying when she calls him. IDK. Am I the asshole? What tough. There's not helping with bathing and the toilet, and then there's straight up neglect and elder abuse. Guess what category your boyfriend falls into? But hold up. So every time you work your mother is sitting in bed with no assistance for 8 hours? Why the asshole if you're allowing that to happen? This is disgusting treatment. Wow. Not placing judgment at this point, but just to say that it sounds like your mom needs to be in 24-hour care. No way could I take that on and work full-time. And you have a baby. That's so much. Your boyfriend sounds like a heartless piece of work. I would never ignore someone calling out for help. She could have died and ignoring her was completely unacceptable on his part. You are the asshole for being with this guy. He literally is okay with your mother dying. Let that sink in. He would rather let her die than lift a finger to help her. He was upfront about refusing to help your mom in any way, and you still left her with only him for company? Clearly an everyone sucks here situation. Him more than you. He sucks for ignoring your mom when he knows full well she might be in danger. You suck for moving her in and failing to provide care for the time you're not available to do so. You either need to get your mom into a full-time care facility, or you need to get someone to help her during the day. You also need to dump the boyfriend. If he can ignore your mom like that, I hate to think how he cares for your child. Not the asshole for expecting him to at least check on the human being calling for help in the next room, but very close to ESH. This situation did not sound sustainable for the start. How long was this supposed to go on if he's planning to never lift a finger, which is a total asshole move? If your mother needs that much help, how is she supposed to do anything for 8 hours while you're at work? Is there a plan to get her other help or get her into a living situation where she has support? On a related note, what exactly does he consider you, your family? If his mother were in this situation, would he expect you to act the same? Sue, who takes care of your mom while you're at work, or does she not eat or go to the bathroom for 8 hours? Who leaves someone unable to breathe there to die? Or on the floor for 8+ hours? On the other hand, you should not be leaving her unattended while you are at work. She very obviously needs more care, and should not be sitting around in the same spoiled diaper for upwards of 8 hours. There are home care nurses who will come in and tend to your loved ones while you work. There are nursing homes if you don't want her in yours. There are options.